Regio Dolphins. This is your principal, Mrs. Mullen. I miss you guys so much. The school is not the same without you guys here. I am going to start doing read-alouds. I was thinking this would be a great way for us to stay connected, for me to share new books every day, and then for also us to kind of think and expand our learning through books. So not only will I be reading to you every day, but I may be engaging and asking questions while I read. I may try to inspire you to do an activity or do something after. This is all optional, but it's my hope that it's a way that we can stay connected. This first read aloud is for our kinder through third grade students. I will also be doing read alouds for our fourth through eighth grade students, which will be a bit different than the picture books that I'm reading for the younger kids. All right, so let's get started. Our first book today is Rosie, Revere, Engineer. This is written by Andrea Beatty and illustrated by David Roberts. This is the story of Rosie Revere, who dreamed of becoming a great engineer. In Lila Greer's classroom at Blue River Creek, young Rosie sat shyly, not daring to speak. Take a look at the picture. Can you identify which one is Rosie? Point to her. There she is. That's Rosie. But when no one saw her, she peeked in the trash for treasures to add to her engineer stash. And late at night, Rosie rolled up her sleeves and built in her hideaway under the eaves. Alone in her attic, the moon high above, dear Rosie made gadgets and gizmos she loved. And when she grew sleepy, she hid her machines far under the bed where they'd never be seen. Wow, look at all those inventions. What are some things that you can see and identify? Some of her cool creations. I see a rocket, a helicopter, a tennis racket, a baby. Pretty neat. When Rosie was young, she had not been so shy. She worked with her hair swooping over one eye and made fine inventions for uncles and aunts, a hot dog dispenser, and helium pants. The uncle she loved most was zookeeper Fred. She made him a hat to keep snakes off his head. From parts of a fan and some cheddar cheese spray, which everyone knows keeps the pythons away. Take a look at that fun device. You see the python slithering away. And when it was finished, young Rosie was proud, but Fred slapped his knee and chuckled out loud. He laughed till he wheezed and his eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who stood there embarrassed, perplexed, and dismayed. She looked at the cheese hat and then looked away. "I love it," Fred hooted. "Oh, truly I do." But Rosie Revere knew that could not be true. She stuck the cheese hat on the back of her shelf and after that day kept her dreams to herself. Why do you think Rosie is upset and sad? What is it that her uncle did that made her feel this way? I'm thinking it's probably because she was feeling embarrassed, like he was laughing at her. And that's how it went until one autumn day, her oldest relation showed up for a stay. Her great-great-aunt Rose was a true dynamo who'd worked building airplanes a long time ago. She told Rosie tales of the things she had done and goals she had checked off her list one by one. She gave a sad smile as she looked to the sky. "The only thrill left on my list is to fly. But time never lingers as long as it seems. I'll chalk that one up to an old lady's dreams." Take a look at her when she was younger, building airplanes. Pretty impressive. Seems like her great-great-aunt was also an engineer. That night, as Rosie lay wide-eyed in bed, a daring idea crept into her head. Could she build a gizmo to help her aunt fly? She looked at the cheese hat and said, "No, not I." But questions are tricky and some hold on tight, and this one kept Rosie awake through the night. So when dawn approached and red streaks lit the sky, young Rosie knew just how to make her ant fly. Make a prediction. What do you think Rosie's going to do? What do you think Rosie's going to build? Let's find out. She worked and she worked till the day was half gone, then hauled her cheesecopter out onto the lawn to give her invention a test just to see the ridiculous flop it might turn out to be. Strapped into the cockpit, she flipped on the switch. The helio cheesecopter sputtered and twitched. It floated a moment and whirled round and round, then froze for a heartbeat and crashed to the ground. Take a look at that fun cheesecopter. Would you like to ride in something like that? Does that look like it's fun or scary? I think it looks fun. I'd want to ride in it. Then Rosie heard laughter and turned around to see the old woman laughing and slapping her knee. She laughed till she wheezed and her eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who thought, "Oh no, never, not ever again will I try to build something to sputter or spin, or build with a lever, a switch, or a gear, and never will I be a great engineer." She turned round to leave, but then Great-Great-Aunt Rose grabbed hold of young Rosie and pulled her in close, and hugged her and kissed her and started to cry. "You did it! Hooray! It's the perfect first try! This great flop is over. It's time for the next." Young Rosie was baffled, embarrassed, perplexed. "I failed," said dear Rosie. "It's just made of trash. Didn't you see it? The cheesecopter crashed." "Yes," said her great aunt, "it crashed, that is true. But first it did just what it needed to do. Before it crashed, Rosie, before that, it flew." "Your brilliant first flop was a raging success. Come on, let's get busy and on to the next." She handed a notebook to Rosie Revere, who smiled at her aunt as it all became clear. Life may have its failures, but this was not it. The only true failure can come if you quit. Have you ever tried to do something that was hard at first, but you didn't give up? It's important to not give up on our dreams. It's important to not give up on the things that maybe at first seem hard, because the more we do it, the better we get. They worked till the sun sneaked away to its bed. Aunt Rose tied her headscarf around Rosie's head and sent her to sleep with a smile ear to ear to dream the bold dreams of a great engineer. At Blue River Creek, all the kids in grade 2 build gizmos and gadgets and doohickeys too. With each perfect failure, they all stand and cheer, but none quite as proudly as Rosie Revere. Take a look at all those cool inventions that the students made. Pretty neat. Doesn't that inspire us to maybe build something today? See if you can create or build something today. It could be something from paper, toys that you have around the house, Legos. If you have a backyard or an outside space, it could be with outside things. Use your hands. Try to create something. I hope you enjoyed this story. I loved it. I love getting to do this with you guys. I can't wait for tomorrow. Again, if you have any suggestions on stories you would like me to read, please leave those in the comment box. Okay, until next time.